From the New York Times, it's The Headlines. I'm Tracy Mumford. Today's Wednesday, March 5th. Here's what we're covering.
To my fellow citizens, America is back.
Last night, President Trump delivered a forceful primetime address to Congress. It was the longest speech of its kind in modern presidential history. Over the course of an hour and 40 minutes, Trump went on a kind of defiant victory lap, celebrating the blitz of drastic changes he's made to domestic and foreign policy. My colleague Jonathan Swan was covering the speech.
It was contentious from the very beginning.
We won the popular vote by big numbers and won counties in our country.
Early in the speech, Democratic Representative Al Green of Texas stood up and started heckling Trump. He was waving his cane in the air.
Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir.
And after multiple warnings from the speaker to be quiet, to respect decorum, he just refused to sit down. He continued yelling.
Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
And he was escorted out. Trump seemed to almost be energized by the Democratic opposition, and he goaded Democrats throughout the night.
For just this one night, why not join us in celebrating so many incredible wins for America?
When he got to the substance of the speech, it was really similar to what we've heard him talk about thematically for really the last 9 years. He focused on illegal immigration and his efforts to crack down on the border. He leaned into culture war issues like transgender issues and talked about law and order. The other thing that Trump really sort of called out in the speech was Doge.
Perhaps you've heard of it. Perhaps.
And Elon Musk, who stood and received applause.
Thank you, Elon. He's working very hard.
Trump spent a lot of time reciting different line items that they claim they have stopped and payments in the budget that he says are fraudulent, and praised Elon Musk's work.
Every single day we will stand up and we will fight for the country our citizens believe in and for the country our people deserve.
The impression you got from watching the speech was this is a president who, despite everything so far, all of the protests, the stock market reaction to what he's doing with tariffs, the outrage from Democrats, this is a president who is not taking any steps backwards. He is barreling forward with his agenda. He's doing it unapologetically, and he shows no sign so far of retreating from any of these very aggressive moves that he's taken so far.
So I promise to be a lot shorter than what you just watched.
After President Trump spoke, Democratic Senator Elissa Slotkin of Michigan delivered the traditional rebuttal speech from the opposing party. She tried to make her case to both Democrats and Republicans.
We need a more efficient government. You want to cut waste? I'll help you do it. But change doesn't need to be chaotic or make us less safe.
Slotkin specifically narrowed in on economics, arguing that the president's agenda will make life more expensive for Americans, affecting everything from grocery prices to retirement benefits. She said, quote, "He's going to make you pay in every part of your life." Meanwhile, Republican lawmakers got a warning from the party's leadership about how to handle growing pushback to Trump's policies. The chairman of the House Republicans' campaign arm told them to stop having in-person town halls. The directive came after Republicans' meetings with their constituents across the country have turned into shouting matches, with attendees confronting representatives about government spending cuts and mass firings. The chairman said Democratic activists have been taking over the town halls and encouraged Republicans to hold online events instead. Here are two other quick updates on the Trump administration.
So I think he's going to work something out with them. It's not going to be a pause, none of that pause stuff, but I think he's going to figure out, you do more, and I'll meet you in the middle some way.
Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick suggested that the U.S. could soon reach some kind of agreement with Canada and Mexico over Trump's drastic new tariffs. The 25% surcharges went into effect yesterday. The stock market plunged in response. Lutnick said on Fox Business that he'd been speaking with representatives from Canada and Mexico and that there could be an announcement as soon as today. But he didn't say what concessions, if any, the countries would have to make to get the tariffs rolled back. And at the Department of Education, Secretary Linda McMahon sent out her first email to staff after being confirmed, and it seemed to signal what could be an end to the department altogether. Trump has repeatedly said he wants to shut the Department of Education down, and the subject line of McMahon's email was, "Our department's final mission." She promised she would work to, quote, "restore oversight of education to the state level," and said that would mean significant changes for the department's staff, budget, and operations. In Ukraine, President Volodymyr Zelensky outlined what he said could be the first steps toward peace if Russia is on board. He said he's prepared to release prisoners of war, stop long-range strikes, and declare a truce at sea immediately if Russia does the same. He made the offer after President Trump froze all U.S. military aid to Ukraine following their clash at the White House. Trump has said he didn't think Zelensky was thankful enough to the U.S. or serious about a peace deal. Zelensky delivered his plan in conciliatory language. He wrote, quote, "My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts." This week, 7 Tesla charging stations were set on fire at a shopping center outside Boston. It's the latest in a series of attacks against the electric car company since its owner Elon Musk started advising President Trump and carrying out his cost-cutting agenda. Tesla showrooms and dealerships across the country have been targeted with protests and vandalism. This week, federal prosecutors charged a woman in Colorado with planting an incendiary device near a Tesla. And in Europe, Tesla sales are dropping. In February, they were down more than 40% compared to the same time last year in Norway, Denmark, and Sweden. Some of the decline may be explained by customers waiting for Tesla to release an updated model, which is coming out soon. But that factor alone likely doesn't cover it. Data out this morning shows that Tesla's February sales plunged 76% in Germany, where Musk's recent support of the country's far-right party may have alienated buyers. And finally,
do you think what you paid for the ticket is worth it?
I mean, it's Beyonce.
Yeah, fair.
The price of concert tickets has been soaring. People have been emptying out their bank accounts, especially to see big-name artists like Beyonce, Bad Bunny, Charli XCX. The Times has been talking with young people about how it's hitting them particularly hard.
Have you ever gone into debt paying for a ticket?
Yes, I have.
Gen Z, so those roughly in their mid-teens to mid-20s now, are paying much more for tickets than previous generations did at their age. Almost 30 years ago, in 1996, when people might have been clamoring to see the Backstreet Boys or the Warped Tour, the average ticket price was about $25, or $50 with inflation. But last year, average ticket prices were nearly 3 times that, at $135. The average ticket price for Taylor Swift's Eras Tour was $1,000. That hasn't necessarily stopped people from going to concerts, though. A survey by one marketing agency found that Gen Z's been breaking their budgets to make it work. 86% of respondents admitted they had overspent on concerts. A top reason? FOMO, fear of missing out. But what they're really missing out on is just not having been alive in the 1970s when they apparently could have seen Bruce Springsteen for, wait for it, $8. Those are the headlines. I'm Tracy Mumford. We'll be back tomorrow.